translation of Sahih Bukhari, Book 40, Distribution of Water. Volume 3, Book 40, number 541, narrated Sahal bin Sa'd. A tumbler full of milk or water was brought to the Prophet, who drank from it, while on his right side there was sitting a boy who was the youngest of those who were present, and on his left side there were old men. The Prophet asked, "O boy, will you allow me to give it, that is the rest of the drink, to the old men?" The boy said, "O Allah's Apostle, I will not give preference to anyone over me to drink the rest of it from which you have drunk." So the Prophet gave it to him. Number 542, narrated Azari. Anas bin Malik said, that once a domestic sheep was milked for Allah's Apostle while he was in the house of Anas bin Malik. The milk was mixed with water drawn from the well in Anas's house. A tumbler of it was presented to Allah's Apostle, who drank from it. Then Abu Bakr was sitting on his left side and a Bedouin on his right side. When the Prophet removed the tumbler from his mouth, Umar was afraid that the Prophet might give it to the Bedouin, so he said, "O Allah's Apostle, give it to Abu Bakr, who is sitting by your side." But the Prophet gave it to the Bedouin, who was to his right, and said, "You should start with the one on your right side." Number 543, narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle said, "Do not withhold the superfluous water, for that will prevent people from grazing their cattle." Number 544, narrated Abu Hurairah, that Allah's Apostle said, "Do not withhold the superfluous water in order to withhold the superfluous grass." Number 545, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, "No blood money will be charged if somebody dies in a mine or in a well or is killed by an animal. And if somebody finds a treasure in this land, he has to give 1/5 of it to the government." Number 546, narrated Abdullah bin Mas'ud. The Prophet said, "Whoever takes a false oath to deprive somebody of his property will meet Allah while he will be angry with him." Allah revealed, "Verily those who purchase a little gain at the cost of Allah's covenant, and their oaths." Quran 3 verse 77. Al-Ash'ath came to the place where Abdullah was narrating and said, "What has Abu Abdurrahman, that is Abdullah, been telling you? This verse was revealed concerning me. I had a well in the land of a cousin of mine. The Prophet asked me to bring witnesses to confirm my claim. I said, I don't have witnesses. He said, let the defendant take an oath then. I said, O Allah's Apostle, he will take a false oath immediately. Then the Prophet mentioned the above narration, and Allah revealed the verse to confirm what he had said. See Hadith number 692. Number 547, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, there are 3 persons whom Allah will not look at on the day of resurrection, nor will he purify them, and there shall be a severe punishment. They are: 1. A man possessed superfluous water, on a way, and he withheld it from travelers. 2. A man who gave a pledge of allegiance to a ruler, and he gave it only for worldly benefits. If the ruler gives him something, he gets satisfied, and if the ruler withholds something from him, he gets dissatisfied. 3. A man displayed his goods for sale after the Asr prayer, and he said, by Allah, except whom none has the right to be worshipped, I have been given so much for my goods, and somebody believes him and buys them. The Prophet then recited, verily, those who purchase a little gain at the cost of Allah's covenant and their oaths. Quran 3 verse 77. Number 548, narrated Abdullah bin Zubair, an Ansari man quarreled with Zubair in the presence of the Prophet about the Hara canals which were used for irrigating the date palms. The Ansari man said to Zubair, let the water pass, but Zubair refused to do so. So, the case was brought before the Prophet, who said to Zubair, O Zubair, irrigate your land and then let the water pass to your neighbor. On that the Ansari got angry and said to the Prophet, is it because he that Zubair is your aunt's son? On that the color of the face of Allah's Apostle changed because of anger, and he said, O Zubair, irrigate your land and then withhold the water till it reaches the walls between the pits round the trees. Zubair said, by Allah, I think that the following verse was revealed on this occasion, but no, by your Lord they can have no faith until they make you judge in all disputes between them. Quran 4 verse 65. Number 549, Narrated Urwa, when a man from the Ansar quarreled with the Zubair, the Prophet said, O Zubair, irrigate your land first and then let the water flow to the land of the others. On that the Ansari said, to the Prophet, it is because he is your aunt's son. On that the Prophet said, O Zubair, irrigate till the water reaches the walls between the pits around the trees and then stop, that is, let the water go to the other's land. I think the following verse was revealed concerning this event, but no, by your Lord they can have no faith until they make you judge in all disputes between them. Quran 4 verse 65. Number 550, Narrated Urwa bin Zubair, an Ansari man quarreled with the Zubair about a canal in the Hara which was used for irrigating date palms. Allah's Apostle, ordering Zubair to be moderate, said, O Zubair, irrigate your land first and then leave the water for your neighbor. The Ansari said, is it because he is your aunt's son? On that the color of the face of Allah's Apostle changed and he said, O Zubair, irrigate your land and withhold the water till it reaches the walls that are between the pits around the trees. So, Allah's Apostle gave Zubair his full right. Zubair said, by Allah, the following verse was revealed in that connection. But no, by your Lord they can have no faith until they make you judge in all disputes between them. Quran 4 verse 65, the sub-narrator, Ibn Shihab said to Jaraj, another sub-narrator, the Ansar and the other people interpreted the saying of the Prophet, irrigate your land and withhold the water till it reaches the walls between the pits around the trees, as meaning up to the ankles. Number 551, Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, while a man was walking he felt thirsty and went down a well and drank water from it. On coming out of it, he saw a dog panting and eating mud because of excessive thirst. The man said, this dog is suffering from the same problem as that of mine. So he went down the well, filled his shoe with water, caught hold of it with his teeth and climbed up and watered the dog. Allah thanked him for his good deed and forgave him. The people asked, O Allah's Apostle, is there a reward for us in serving the animals? He replied, yes, there is a reward for serving any animate. Number 552, Narrated Asma bint Abi Bakr, the Prophet prayed the eclipse prayer, and then said, hell was displayed so close that I said, O my Lord, am I going to be one of its inhabitants? Suddenly he saw a woman. I think he said, who was being scratched by a cat. He said, what is wrong with her? He was told, she had imprisoned it, that is the cat, till it died of hunger. Number 553, Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, Allah's Apostle said, a woman was tortured and was put in hell because of a cat which she had kept locked till it died of hunger. Allah's Apostle further said, Allah knows better. Allah said to the woman, you neither fed it nor watered when you locked it up, nor did you set it free to eat the insects of the earth. Number 554, Narrated Sahih bin Sa'd, once a tumbler full of milk or water was brought to Allah's Apostle, who drank from it, while on his right side there was sitting a boy who was the youngest of those who were present, and on his left side there were old men. The Prophet asked, O boy, do you allow me to give the drink to the elder people first? The boy said, I will not prefer anybody to have my share from you, O Allah's Apostle. So, he gave it to the boy. Number 555, Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, by him in whose hands my soul is, I will drive some people out from my sacred fount on the day of resurrection as strange camels are expelled from a private trough. Number 556, Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, may Allah be merciful to the mother of Ishmael. If she had left the water of Zamzam fountain as it was, without constructing a basin for keeping the water, or said, if she had not taken handfuls of its water, it would have been a flowing stream. Jurhum, an Arab tribe, came and asked her, may we settle at your dwelling? She said, yes, but you have no right to possess the water. They agreed. Number 557, Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, there are three types of people whom Allah will neither talk to, nor look at, on the day of resurrection. They are 1. A man who takes an oath falsely that he has been offered for his goods so much more than what he has given. 2. a man who takes a false oath after the Asr prayer in order to grab a Muslim's property, and 3. A man who withholds his superfluous water. Allah will say to him, "Today I will withhold my grace from you as you withheld the superfluity of what you had not created." Number 558, narrated Asab bin Jathama, Allah's Apostle said, "No Hima except for Allah and His Apostle." We have been told that Allah's Apostle made the place called the Naqi as Hima, and Umar made Ash-Sharif and Ar-Rabadha Hima for grazing the animals of Zakat. Number 559, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, "Keeping horses may be a source of reward to some man, a shelter to another that is means of earning one's living, or a burden to a third. He to whom the horse will be a source of reward is the one who keeps it in Allah's cause, prepare it for holy battles and ties it by a long rope in a pasture or a garden. He will get a reward equal to what its long rope allows it to eat in the pasture or the garden, and if that horse breaks its rope and crosses 1 or 2 hills, then all its footsteps and its dung will be counted as good deeds for its owner. And if it passes by a river and drinks from it, then it will also be regarded as a good deed for its owner even if he has had no intention of watering it then." Horses are a shelter from poverty to the second person who keeps horses for earning his living so as not to ask others, and at the same time he gives Allah's right, that is rakat, from the wealth he earns through using them in trading etc., and does not overburden them. He who keeps horses just out of pride and for showing off and as a means of harming the Muslims, his horses will be a source of sins to him. When Allah's Apostle was asked about donkeys, he replied, "Nothing particular was revealed to me regarding." Number 560, narrated Zayd bin Khalid, a man came to Allah's Apostle and asked about al-liqata, a fallen thing. The Prophet said, "Recognize its container and its tying material and then make a public announcement about it for 1 year, and if its owner shows up, give it to him. Otherwise use it as you like." The man said, "What about a lost sheep?" The Prophet said, "It is for you, your brother or the wolf." The man said, "What about a lost camel?" The Prophet said, "Why should you take it, as it has got its water container, its stomach and its hooves, and it can reach the places of water and can eat the trees till its owner finds it." Number 561, narrated as Zubair bin al-Awwam, the Prophet said, "No doubt, one had better take a rope and cut and tie a bundle of wood and sell it, whereby Allah will keep his face away from hellfire, rather than ask others who may give him or not." Number 562, narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, "No doubt, you had better gather a bundle of wood and carry it on your back and earn your living thereby, rather than ask somebody who may give you or not." Number 563, narrated Hussein bin Ali bin Abi Talib said, "I got a she-camel as my share of the war booty on the day of the Battle of Badr, and Allah's Apostle gave me another she-camel. I let both of them kneel at the door of one of the Ansar, intending to carry it on them to sell it and use its price for my wedding banquet on marrying Fatima. A goldsmith from Bamkanka was with me. Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib was in that house drinking wine, and a lady singer was reciting, 'O Hamza, kill the 2 fat old she-camels and serve them to your guests.' So Hamza took his sword and went towards the 2 she-camels and cut off their humps and opened their flanks and took a part of their livers. I said to Ibn Shihab, 'Did he take part of the humps?' He replied, 'He cut off their humps and carried them away.' Ali further said, 'When I saw that dreadful sight, I went to the Prophet and told him the news. The Prophet came out in the company of Zayd bin Haritha, who was with him then, and I too went with them. He went to Hamza and spoke harshly to him. Hamza looked up and said, 'Aren't you only the slaves of my forefathers?' The Prophet retreated and went out. This incident happened before the prohibition of drinking. Number 564, narrated Anas, the Prophet decided to grant a portion of the uncultivated land of Bahrain to the Ansar. The Ansar said, 'We will not accept it till you give a similar portion to our emigrant brothers from Quraysh.' He said, 'O Ansar, you will soon see people giving preference to others, so remain patient till you meet me on the day of resurrection.' Number 565, narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, 'One of the rights of a she-camel is that it should be milked at a place of water.' Number 566, narrated Zayd bin Thabit. the Prophet permitted selling the dates of the araya for ready dates by estimating the amount of the former as they are still on the trees. Number 567, narrated Jabir bin Abdullah, the Prophet forbade the sales called al-Makabara, al-Muhakala and al-Muzabana and the selling of fruits till they are free from blights. He forbade the selling of the fruits except for money, except the araya. Number 568, narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet allowed the sale of the dates of the araya for ready dates by estimating the former, which should be estimated as less than 5 awsak or 5 awsak. Dawud, the sub-narrator, is not sure as to the right amount. Number 569, narrated Rafi bin Khadij and Sahih bin al-Hathma, Allah's apostle forbade the sale of muzabana, that is selling of fruits for fruits, except in the case of araya. He allowed the owners of araya such kind of sale,